Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Wednesday, August 17th. Today we will have thunderstorms pushing a little bit further north and west than what we saw yesterday, and these storms along the Sierra front and into western Nevada will be a mix of wet and dry. As we move into Thursday, these storms track further north and west. They will likely continue overnight tonight into early Thursday morning for parts of northwest Nevada, and then continue developing further east and south as we move through the day on Thursday. Again, these storms on the northern and western periphery will be a mix of wet and dry, so we certainly could see some new fire starts over parts of western and northwest Nevada over the next 24 to 36 hours. Otherwise, hot and dry conditions continue over northern and western areas, with temperatures well above normal and near record highs for parts of Idaho over the next couple of days. Also very low relative humidity. This will continue to allow our large fire activity in Idaho to continue to increase in fire behavior. As we move into Friday, these thunderstorms finally move its way north up into Idaho, so we will have again a mix of wet and dry storms for central and southwest Idaho, which will certainly be critical with gusty outflow winds for our existing incidents and also bring the possibility of new starts to the north. Otherwise, wetter thunderstorms continue over southern and eastern areas. Over the last 24 hours, we did have scattered thunderstorms over the southern half of the Great Basin, with just a few isolated strikes up into central Nevada. These thunderstorms were not quite as wet as what we saw the day before. Most rainfall amounts were below 1/3 of an inch, but still in the wetter variety. We did have some higher base showers that also occurred over western Nevada, but minimal lightning. And also similar for western Idaho, or western Wyoming rather. Great Basin fire activity, we did have new fire starts across the region, as you can see here with the smaller red circles, and one new large fire in south central Idaho, along with our existing large fire activity in central Idaho. Over the last 7 to 14 days, precipitation continues over the southern half to 2/3 of the Great Basin and is certainly well above normal with the deep monsoon moisture in place. Some of the drier areas remain central and southern Idaho, and also small parts of far western areas of the Great Basin, at least over the last 7 days. So our current ERCs reflect this trend. We did have some moisture in Idaho which dropped ERCs to below normal, but they have quickly rebounded and are now near normal again for the Payette and over towards Salmon Chalice. Also towards the Boise and northern Sawtooth, ERCs are coming up quickly with the hot and dry conditions. Over western Nevada, we have also seen that quick rebound of ERCs with the drier weather recently, and ERCs are near normal along the Sierra front. 100-hour fuel moisture has also been dropping quickly over southwest Idaho into northwest and western Nevada. The satellite loop from this morning shows the high pressure dominating the Great Basin, again allowing that moisture to push further north and west. And you can see the cloud cover this morning over western Nevada. So again, we will see thunderstorms moving its way a little bit further north and west today. The weather picture for later this afternoon, you can see that moisture moving into the Sierra front. So we do have high risk for the Sierra front, which also continues north and west into California. These storms will be a mix of wet and dry, so we will see some rainfall and some higher humidity associated with these thunderstorms, but could still see some drier strikes and gusty outflow winds. Further north into Idaho, the high risk for the hot and dry conditions continue, and again, that will continue to be an impact for existing fires, and also we still could see some holdovers pop up prior to when the lightning arrives. For the thunderstorms this afternoon, again, you can see the thunderstorms increasing along the Sierra front and still continuing over southern and eastern areas. We'll likely see a wetter variety, especially as you get higher up in the Sierra, but a mix of wet and dry storms and also faster moving over parts of western Nevada. And we could also see again those gusty outflow winds. Relative humidity will remain low over the northern third of the Great Basin and in the low teens to around 10%, but will be coming up especially over southern areas of the Sierra front, but further north, again, not quite as much with that mix of wet and dry storms. As we move into Thursday, these storms continue to track north. And again, the main threat for northwest Nevada will be overnight tonight and especially into Thursday morning. So we do have a high risk for lightning for that time period. And during the afternoon, we'll also see some drier storms pop up in northwest Nevada as well as continue into northern California. The high risk for heat and dry conditions continues for one more day up in Idaho. The weather picture you can see for Thursday, a lot more moisture moving its way north into central and western Nevada, so even though we may see a mix of wet and dry storms today along the Sierra front, moisture will be increasing tonight and tomorrow. Northwest Nevada still being on the fringe of that moisture, especially in the northern part of Winnemucca District, and that's the area that we're seeing more of a grass crop. So again, still some risk for new fires that could become large fires with that lightning and then drier air quickly moving in. On Thursday, we may see a few isolated storms move into southwest Idaho, but the greater push will be potentially Thursday night into Friday. No real impacts from wind with the exception of gusty outflow winds. Relative humidity in Idaho stays low for one more day on Thursday with the hot temperatures. And then on Friday, Thursday night and Friday is where we will see that greater push of moisture to the north with that increase in lightning activity. So we do have high risk for southwest and central Idaho on Friday. Again, mainly starting Thursday night and going through Friday for the increase in lightning. So we do expect certainly new starts, and any of those thunderstorms could produce gusty outflow winds affecting existing incidents. You can see the weather picture for Friday, that push of moisture to the north and east. So we will see a fairly decent amount of lightning coverage for Idaho. Certainly will see some moisture with these storms, so could see some brief wetting rains in some areas, but just with the amount of lightning and with the critical nature of the fuels and existing fires, it's more a risk of new fire starts, although it could temporarily moderate fire behavior possibly on Friday as that moisture is in place, but again, also the risk for new starts is high. Drier air quickly moves into western Nevada, so we possibly could see some holdovers from the lightning there. Otherwise, breezy north to northwest winds over central Nevada, but again, not in areas that really are critical at this time. Relative humidity increases on Friday in Idaho as that moisture moves north. However, it dries out quickly over northwest and western Nevada. The heat continues for the next couple of days. The maximum temperatures will be today with highs over 100 degrees in Boise and up in the 80s and 90s up in the mountain areas. And then we will start to see those temperatures tick downward on Thursday as that moisture starts to work its way north. The 3-day forecast amount of precipitation, obviously the wetter storms will produce wetting rains over the southern half of the Great Basin. Still on the fringes, we will see some moisture in northwest and western Nevada, but it looks like not quite as much moisture up in Idaho. As we move into Saturday, that drier air pushes in further east across the Great Basin and really moves in across most of Nevada, but also starts to already push in across Idaho. We do not have any high risk across Idaho, but those PSAs quickly turn from yellow to brown, so we will likely see the risk of holdovers high Saturday and into Sunday as that dry air really works its way in. Going into Monday, we have an area of low pressure moving north through the Pacific Northwest. Could trigger some lightning activity again for central Idaho, but much of that activity will be off to the north and east. But also winds out of the southwest could pick up, which again would increase the likelihood of holdovers if we get a little bit more wind along with that drier air moving in after the lightning. And then on Tuesday, that dry air really remains in place across the western half of the Great Basin. 7-day total amount of precipitation is not much different in the north. Again, could see some showers with those thunderstorms in Idaho, but the heavier precipitation is certainly down south. And then the 8 to 14-day outlook, taking us from August 24th through the 30th, shows still warmer and drier conditions on the northern and western periphery of the Great Basin, with that monsoon moisture still taking hold of the southern and eastern half of the region. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.